The Weld Like Bazza podcast is sponsored by MS Welding, the #1 welding solution provider. mswelding.co.uk.
Have you been bollocked about bad language again? Have you been told not to be swearing at me?
No, she hasn't actually said anything, but I feel like I'm in the mood where it's going to slip out. So,
are you in that mood today?
I'm
going to start slipping and effing and jeffing.
I think the casual slip-ups, it's fine, you know. It's just one of them things. It's part of the industry, and I've got to hold my tongue so many times that.
Well, thanks for dinner, mate. That was awesome.
It was lovely, wasn't it?
Really good. I like me Marks and Spencer's dinner.
One of the best.
So this is only the second guest video podcast. Mm-hmm. So I can tell you've had a top up on your tan.
I don't use fake tan. She actually asked us last night, do you want us to put it in your face? I was like,
what did she?
Oh, aye. She did, aye. I feel I'm always in the sun anyway, so, but I definitely don't fake tan, just for the record.
Well, if you did, you go to person to sort that would be Alan, right?
Is that tan or is it Ron Seal?
Creosote. It did, you know, it looked really good. You know, and he put loads of effort in. But I fear the state of the bed sheets after.
Oh, yeah. They're no good to anyone after that, like.
I didn't even recognise him.
It's one of them, isn't it? I know he's, when he's been away, like, so obviously I think that was a local event that he done, wasn't it? So he would have been in his own bed, but he's been away in the past, and it's been like he's had to take his own bed sheets or something. Because can you imagine the cleaner coming in
and seeing the state and wondering what's gone on?
What's happened? Yeah, like something like off American Psycho or something.
Years and years and years ago, before Oliver and Oliver's mum, I dated a female bodybuilder, and it stains everywhere. But it stains you as well. So I'd wake up and there'd be like shitty brown marks on my leg, and I'd be like, where the f*** does this come from?
She's really bad for Beth at the minute for fake tan, like, you know, on the toilet seat, just where our legs have been. My bedding's all white, so that's totally fucked now. I was just making the bed this morning, and her pillow is just like disgusting.
Does she like fake tan?
She's quite pale. Like for blonde, I do all right with me tan. You know what I mean? Me legs are good tanned off the bike and that, but she's like so pale, so she's constantly battering it. On a night out, even in the winter, she'll wear like a polo neck or something, like going out. She's like, will you put fake tan on me back? I was like, you wearing a jumper? Like, what's the point? And then we're having an argument about it. She said, well, I just want to look good. I was like, you look lovely from the neck up. Do you know what I mean? It just ruins me bed sheets.
We once had a female rep coming here. My dad was still alive, and she used toilet, and she was upstairs for absolutely ages, and afterwards he went, just been up to toilet, and there's two massive like brown leg marks on the toilet seat.
That's what mine's like.
Oh, it must have been fake tan.
It's not easy to come off either. Like,
my dad bought a new toilet seat. That one was stained. But how's stuff been going, buddy? Because I know it's been busy, and I know that LinkedIn were proper kicking off Saturday morning.
It was like the Wild West, wasn't it?
It was like I've never seen it so intense and so aggressive as it is at the minute on LinkedIn.
It's gone very much Facebook-like now.
I feel it has. I think it's not going to be long before it's not the place for business anymore.
Nah, that's the problem. Like in Facebook, it got very personal, and then you got like people have to step in with like certain regulations for like hate speech and all that sort of stuff. And LinkedIn's just now, it's like people ultimately now the British, we're always the same. We hate anyone that does well. Like.
It would appear so. There's no praise for anybody who does well.
I mean, a lot of the podcasts you listen to, the Americans are apparently the very opposite. They love it, and the big, like Joe Rogan's massive about that. He says like anyone that does well, everyone really encourages it. The UK is totally different. Anyone that's doing really well, we can't wait for them to fail.
So you should be here today then, because you sold like 3 really good. What TIG welders did you sell?
Oh, the Tetrix with the TIG speeds and that.
Yeah, TIG speeds. You sold 3 of them, so you shouldn't be here today, because I should be spitting dummy out at that.
Well, I don't understand what... Like, do you know what? I don't have anything to say about it, mate. I would never comment on anyone's posts or dig someone out on it, because ultimately I think it looks bad on you, really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then a couple of the screenshots that I was sending you was like people full on naming other people and all that.
Falling out over contact tips.
Like what's going on? Like,
and people kind of saying, well, before you have a look at that, you should be having a look at this.
it's just like people have lost their head now. Like,
do you think it's because things have been a little bit of a struggle this last couple of months, well, this last year in industry? Because I think it's had its up and downs this last year in the industry. I don't think it's been plain sailing for everybody, but it does seem to be quite aggressive.
I don't know if it is partly because of that, but I think it's a society change as well, that people are bringing like they said, the social media aspect and the hatred from other aspects is slowly leaking into a professional platform. I've seen a couple of people have definitely had a drink on a night and started putting stuff out there, and then you go back and look at it and it's not there anymore and they've regretted it. And I just think everyone just needs to chill out. Like,
I think it's funny the amount of sales reps that don't like pick up an email or a message over the weekend, yet they'll go on LinkedIn on a Saturday and a Sunday and spend hours on there clicking and liking everybody's posts on a Saturday and a Sunday. But and I just kind of think, is that not the same thing? Are you not stepping away from work?
I'm trying to. I actually got to a point where I deleted the app on after I sent you them messages on Saturday, just because for like. Naturally, I'm normally on my bike 6 hours on a Saturday or sometimes on a Sunday. So I'm not sitting on my phone, but the weather's now turning and I'm like finding myself looking at my phone a bit more, and I don't want to get into a point where I'm checking work stuff. And it is a work thing, obviously. So, you're seeing other people's orders, other people's machines or whatever, but I'm just not getting to the point where I'm sitting there Saturday afternoon punching myself in the face because I haven't gotten that order. I couldn't care less. But it's like, you just like we were talking about earlier, you need that separation or else you drive yourself insane. So I deleted LinkedIn back on it obviously now, but I think just Friday night, 5 o'clock, I'll delete the app. Because if it's not in front of you, I don't click on it. It's the same what I did with Twitter and Facebook. I haven't had Facebook in about 5 or 6 years.
On a personal level, you don't have Facebook?
No, 5-6 years ago now.
Really?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
And do you think that's been really good for you?
Oh, massive. And Twitter, I got rid of Twitter last year as well. So this year, I haven't looked at the news this year once. Like, and sometimes you say,
have you seen the news?
I'm got a clue what's going on, mate. Like, I know what's happening in my life, the people who's important to us, my friends, me and you get on really well. Other than that, honestly, I don't really care. Like, to be honest, like, not that. Sounds bad, and probably people think, well, you need to know what's going on, and you do, but it got to the point where, the whole Russia-Ukraine thing, I sat and watched Sky News till 5 o'clock in the morning, like waiting for something to happen, and nothing happened.
No.
And then you get to the point where, can I solve this myself? Like watching, like, you know what I mean? I used to watch videos of 9/11 going, oh God, I reckon I can work this out and how the buildings come down and all that sort of stuff, and it used to drive us insane. So... Nah, I'm much more happier now.
And you don't think about that stuff when you're on your bike now, obviously.
Nah, you don't think about nothing on the bike.
So what was Saturday? What were your record on Saturday? My phone's filming.
I think it was yesterday, actually. What day was it now? Monday.
Which one did you sent me a picture? And
yesterday.
You'd beaten that guy.
Oh, aye. So there's like little segments on Strava, and it's a healthy amount of competition. So there's little like areas of like the northeast where you want to get the quickest time.
Right.
It wasn't more about beating that record, it was my own personal record. So when you do certain like routes, it'll tell you how quicker you are compared to yourself. My biggest competition is myself from a week ago. So I managed to knock off like 2 minutes like yesterday.
And you were flying. And that's, that 20 mile?
It was 20, so I do a 20-mile loop and I just try and do it as quick as I can. So it's 55 minutes.
20 miles, that's just like a little bit of a morning sprint for you, though, isn't it? That's not a big one. What were the big one the other week? Was that
100?
100 miles.
I've done I've done 200 milers this year. I've done longer, but to be honest, I've done 156 in a day, and that took us 10 hours.
But you're going to be part of a race team, aren't you?
That's the plan. I mean,
have you signed up? Have you accepted?
No. Well, the guy's away. He's going to Italy for 6 weeks cycling. So I've got a couple of. I'm going to try and organise a Teams call with him because he's a nutritionist as well. So I want like advice on that, and I'll probably try and get a training program put in place.
That might be the next segment of the training for you, like a proper nutritionist.
I mean, I feel like I've got my food nailed now. I really enjoy it. I'm not putting any weight on, even if I have an off day. So I don't know. It has excelled as massively. Like,
they'll be able to start looking at macros and stuff and really like tailing it in, what they're like dialing it in perfectly.
I don't know what more say they're experts, but like I feel like I've really looked into loads where I know what's good for us and I know what's bad for us.
You've done really well though, massively well with it recently.
I've 2 stone down now, so that's mad, insane.
But what we're at 54 mile an hour when you had your blowout the other day.
Luckily, I mean, Wednesday was, I don't know if the weather was nice
Wednesday,
down there.
Wednesday.
Weather was unbelievable, and obviously the videos I sent you, like I've climbed that hill so many times.
And whereabouts is that?
It's like it's close to Derwent Reservoir, so you go around the reservoir. I think it's like sort of pretty much the North Pennines. So you go at the top of that, you're like 1,600 feet above sea level.
Right.
So it's a decent climb for England. We don't have many high climbs. And then I've just bombed down the other side. Just like bunny hopped a cattle grid on the way down.
It looked good though, didn't it? It looked really good.
Brilliant. Got to the bottom, no problem at all. It's a bit sketchy. Like I think it's about 17% gradient going down, so it's steep. So you pick up speed pretty quickly. I knew I had a little hole in my tyre, but it's got fluid in, so it seals it. So like I didn't really think about that. Got to the bottom, I had some food, jumped on the bike, and then went to go, and it was just gone, popped. So I'm thinking, so naturally I didn't take any inner tubes with us.
Because that's not cool, is it?
Nah.
No.
Nah, it doesn't look good in the back pockets. So
my dad used to have a bum bag. Don't you have a bum bag?
Nah, if I'm away, like say when I was in Mallorca, there's a little like saddle bag underneath your seat, but I ain't putting one of them on me $8,000 bike. Nah, I'd rather puncture and walk home.
You're not vain, are you?
Nah, not at all, but I just think it spoils the look of the bike, doesn't it? So I had to, I rang her dad and I said,
come and get me.
I was like, where are you? He's like, I'm just going shopping. I was like, is there any chance you could just come to Blanchland? Where's that? I was like, he went, is it near Ponteland? I was like, nah, it's a bit further away.
A bit further than that.
It was a half an hour drive for him. But he says, can I bring Emma? He's missus. And I went, you've only got a small golf. And I was like, that'll be fine. I'll just take both the wheels off it. So she was in the front, he was driving, I was sat in the back.
With your bike on your knee like this?
My bike was over me shoulder like that with both wheels off. I had a wheel there and my shoulder, because there was no space in the car.
Quality.
So they had to drive to, I think it was her mates, to drop a birthday card off. So I'm just sat in the back with my bike looking like an idiot.
What do you reckon's a new sign? It's giving you a right halo. Like when you see, you're going to have like this golden tan on your hairline.
It's nice, like. Really nice.
I like Bazza.
Aye.
It's quality.
Shout out to the company who wanted to overcharge it to get it done.
Yeah. It does look classy.
Shouldn't even shame them.
Can't be doing that or we're getting shot.
It's nice.
What's new? EWM new? There's got to be something new that I don't know about.
You know about everything, man. Well, obviously, for anyone else that doesn't know, we obviously got the React process, which is...
It's based at automation. Mm-hmm. It's an automation based... That's when you're going to get the very, very best out of it.
Yeah. When were we over in Germany? Me, Johnny and Alan went over a couple of months ago. And it was at the pro... They didn't really know what to name it back then.
So it was going to be Cold Arc Extreme or something.
Cold Arc Plus. Cold Arc Plus, yeah.
Plus, not Pulse Plus.
Not Pulse, yeah, Plus. So there was that name, but I think they wanted a new concept, so they came up with React.
Because it is a new... Although it uses a secondary and it'll use very similar software and hardware to the Cold Arc process, it's a huge step up in its development, isn't it now?
Yeah, definitely. They've got like a big launch, not a launch, but it's obviously been released, but they're having all sales partners and branch managers, etc., over in Germany for like where everyone can get together and really understand the process so we can go out and push it. Of course, it's on the week that I'm on holiday.
Right.
So,
you're sending me then. You're sending me out.
Mate, if you want to go, it's for invites for all sales partners. So if you can go, you're more than welcome. But I missed the like sort of webinar on it because I was on holiday.
Yep.
And then I'm gonna miss like the big in-house show because I'm on holiday. So everyone's like, "Oh, you're taking too much time off." This was my second big holiday this year, but I've been having like these half days here, half days there.
Yeah. Always out on your bike. Or the barbers, that takes a lot of your holiday time.
Nah, that's 9 o'clock in the morning. That's what's me.
You don't normally start till 10:30, do you?
9:45 normally. I've got to get the barber in, like, because luckily I got this done, like, because honestly, my hair was just like a bit of an afro going on, like.
Oliver said to me, he said, "I need my hair cutting before I go back to school on Monday." I'm like, "Why? It don't look too bad." He said, No. He said, "If I leave it a few more days, it's going to be bad." I can't. He's like, "Oh," and then we walked in. Lisa were there. "Lisa, you've got to make sure that." So I don't know what's going on today.
Do you know what it is? I'm not like. It's not the fact that I'm vain and I like my hair like this. It is generally for the bike and all that, really, because
aerodynamics.
I just hate the feel of it. Like, and when you go outside and like, well, you won't know, but when the wind, when the wind catches your hair and you're just like.
I've been like this for years, like, and when it does grow back, I just look like an absolute twat. So
I can't remember a time when you had it was like jet black, wasn't it?
It all started when I had a girlfriend and she pissed my dad off one day, and it was like, "You need to go get a skinhead. She won't like that." He said, "You go get a skinhead," and he said, "She'll get rid of you." And I said, "She won't." Anyway, I had a skinhead, and she liked it, so I ended up staying with her for a bit longer. But and then it just never grew back. But
when you took it right down, and I heard that, like,
so like it did recede, but now it's right bad. And then I got where that grey patch is there. That's my alopecia. So that when I was like,
you can't even see that.
When I was fighting for Oliver, they were bald patches. So when I took my beard off, my beard used to grow back with these two bald patches in my beard.
At least you can grow a beard.
Well,
I'm 33 and I'm still waiting to hit puberty.
Cat can lick yours off, can't it?
Oh, shocking. This is Movember from 2017. Like, I just cannot grow a beard.
Well.
It's less maintenance, I suppose. Like.
Less maintenance, mate. Less maintenance. But back to React. We're starting to manipulate the wire now, aren't we? We're driving the wire backwards. Mm-hmm. And I think it frustrates me a little bit because I think Cold Arc, there's far more that could have been done with Cold Arc. Mm. I just think people didn't have the knowledge about how to get the very best out of it or the time to do their own R&D, because it's one of those processes where you've really got to have a massive amount of serious hands-on. And I know we've got all the support in Germany, but if you get a job coming through the door, quite often you've got to know in your own head if that's the process for it or not. So I'm really, because this was, I think from an automation point of view, this was the one thing that we were missing because I think 3D printing, metal 3D printing, I know that, who calls it additive layer? It's Fronius. Additive, I think.
There's the WAM process, isn't there? So we do a lot with that with plasma welding at the moment, but now obviously going using React as well, that's gonna really excel that as well.
So do you do more of an additive layer with the plasma stuff?
Yeah, we've done loads of. I'm not going to tell you who it's with. I'll tell you later.
Yeah.
They've done a lot. They developed their own software, like a Path to Finder, etc., all that sort of stuff. But that's mainly for like titanium wires and that they've been doing it on because the waste costage.
I think the majority of people that's doing like a 3D printing thing, it is on titanium.
Yeah. So there's the plasma welding side's been going for quite a number of years now. Just because we didn't have anything else, but until now it's going to massively change. So, like I say, you've really got to understand the process. And I haven't had enough time to just sit and get me head around everything enough to say, like, this is what it is and that's what it is. And I'm not going to speak when I don't have the knowledge because you just get found out. So the idea of is it now that obviously, well, I'm going to miss it because I'm on holiday. But, really sort of sit down and like understand everything about it, the practical side of it and all that. And
looking at all the info, it looks like it really does excel from, that very, very thin sheet material kind of thing that Cold Arc were initially really good at. Then it were really good at gap bridging, obviously, root stuff and stainless steels. And then with Cold Arc and Pulse, it were really good on dissimilars and where we wanted to, really achieve a good cold zone, but as well as having that extra power of the heat. I think with this, that did you show me a video and it was like zipping down at some horrendous speed?
It's quick.
It says on the website that you can achieve up to 100% faster travel speeds, which is ridiculous, which is going to pull your heat affected zone in. But it's all to do with, I think it's going to be purely the stability of the arc that you're being able to maintain. I just thinking about how they're going to do that in conjunction with synchronizing the wire is like something else.
Yeah.
But again, who's our head of application that posts on LinkedIn? Is it Boyan?
Yeah.
He was saying that it's like really good in stainless steel applications.
Yeah. Boyan will probably be heading up when we were in Germany, he was doing a lot of the talks. I think he's now head of automation as well.
Right.
So there's been a bit of a rejigging over there, I think. But he'll be the one that's really presenting it over there. And I've had a couple of emails with him about a couple of customers in the UK who might be interested. But I think, we've got the Germany thing, but we'll no doubt we need a UK event as well.
Yeah.
So I'm looking into that at the moment.
That'll be good.
We'll get someone set up at our place.
I've not dazzled you yet. Let's just look at that, eh?
I'll definitely have a tan after this. Like,
look at all your teeth are like whiter than white, mate. Did you watch any boxing on Saturday? Don't let me down. Don't say you didn't watch it.
I'm not paying pay-per-view prices. Like, I'm not tight, right? But I am a little bit. I'm not paying to watch Anthony Joshua fight because I've said I don't like the bloke. Not that I've got so much respect for him, because anyone who is getting to that level has my ultimate respect. But I think he's lost the plot. Like, remember when he was such a nice guy?
I don't remember that, but
no, like in terms of media personality,
he seemed to be very humble at one point.
This is the word that was battered out for. But if anyone knows before, he was a bit of a tearaway. So I think he sold drugs. He was and I think that side of him starting to, because he's lost the plot and he's like been battered a few times. I think the old side of it's starting to creep in, where he's getting a bit like frustrated. I don't think it's all like the management side. I don't think he's coaches now. Fury's ex-coaches as well, isn't it? That young kid.
I don't know. I've not looked into it. What I did notice is obviously Daryl Oliver's trainer's been down in Wembley this week for the Davis fight. And there was a picture on Instagram of Joshua with Daryl. Now, Daryl's a big lad. Joshua towered above him, like absolutely huge. And, he kind of... I spoke to Daryl last week and he portrayed him as being really nice. But then, you wouldn't have watched any of the press after the fight, would you?
No, I only seen him with...
He was hurt. I think it was a big chunk of pride that was hurt.
Who's that older guy, Steve? What's his name? Oh, God, I can't remember my surname now. He's been in boxing for God knows how many years. He does all the... I'm sure it's Steve somewhere. He interviewed him anyway, and you could see, like... He was quite, like, open. He says, got caught when I shouldn't have done and all that sort of stuff.
First round, like, a couple of minutes in, that first punch in that first round, and Oliver said, he's going to have to be a really good guy to come back from that.
Well, he hasn't got a good record over doing that. Remember when Andy Ruiz had him in the first time, and that was it. He was getting knocked down every round.
Yeah.
So he's got that in him, when Dubois obviously sensed that straight away. But I remember the pre-fight when he was... like, they offered each other out in that press conference. I was like,
was that the one round the table?
Yeah, when he said, like, we can go now if you want. And I was like, how hell, lads. Like,
yeah,
it sells tickets, but you know what I mean?
That's one part of it. That's when that kind of side of him really started to shine through. But we didn't watch it for that, but it were a good fight, well put on. Well, the entertaining part was watching Tyson Fury in the crowd. Like, he got in there like proper early doors when it was still daylight.
And then booed his brother, didn't they? Did you see that?
No.
They booed his brother Tommy, and then they swapped the camera over to Tyson, and then the whole stadium erupted and all that. And Tyson Fury was pissing himself laughing. And
He's funny.
He's great, but I think I'd love to see them two fight. Obviously, Joshua and Fury.
Very technical fighter is Tyson. When he came out for his last fight, he was really angled out. He kept his chin on his chest for pretty much the majority of the fight. He got rocked in that fight though, didn't he? You know, he really did get rocked. But we watch. Have you watched At Home with the Furies on Netflix?
Yeah, I did.
There's that funny part where he's at Morecambe Bay with the kids, and that guy comes up for a picture, and he went, "I still like AJ better." Oh no, he said, "I still think AJ could beat you." He went, "I think anybody on that beach could beat you."
Because of a cheeky bastard.
And then he goes, "Cheeky bastard." Yeah, really funny.
He's got to have some bottle to go to Tyson Fury and say that, because I wouldn't have approached that subject with him.
Proper cool guy though, and he proper good. But no, I enjoyed it. It was a good Saturday. Really good fight. And then Oliver's obviously in gym yesterday with Badger.
Where's the name Badger come from? I don't know.
I've not asked him.
Right.
I've not asked him, but it's Badger's Fight Bible. He's got a couple of world titles, I think, and done some pretty good stuff.
It's only going to be help Oliver in a way that.
When we left yesterday, we were like a completely different level of training from Daryl, a completely different direction. But it was like, we've been trying to solve that problem, Dad, for months now, and we've sorted it in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was just on point with that. And then I spoke to him this morning. We speak every morning. And I went, "How are you feeling?" He went, "My back's aching from training on Saturday with you." He said, "But
it's
no."
because of that different movement, do you think? Or?
No, he was low dumbbell rowing, like 28 kg dumbbells on Saturday.
That was ridiculous. I couldn't do that. I know, obviously, I couldn't do that. Because
I don't know where he gets it from. He's an absolute nutcase. He's a kid.
A beast,
Yeah, he's good. But it was funny because some of our customers talking about LinkedIn. Have you and Oliver been on holiday with Alan from EWM? I went, "No, we hadn't. No, we've seen
all three of you in the tent.
We've seen you on LinkedIn." I said, "No, you've seen a picture of us meeting up for afternoon and having a chat." "Oh, I thought you'd been on holiday with Alan."
Why would you go on holiday with Alan?
So that's LinkedIn. That's the extent of LinkedIn and its stories.
Yeah, people read into things far too much a bit, don't they?
Where are you going on holiday?
Where am I going on holiday?
Yeah.
I'm going to Turkey. I haven't booked it. I've had no.
Has your last booked it?
Yeah, so it's like we're going away with her family. So me and Beth went away in June. We went to Crete. We had our own thing together.
That looks like a beautiful holiday, that one.
It was nice, honestly, really nice. But do you know what ruined it? The airport on the way back. When you're when you're introduced to all the arseholes,
all the Brits.
Aye. I mean, the Brits have a brilliant way of ruining any beautiful place. But we got to that, and we'd spent quite a bit of money on this nice resort. It was really nice, quiet, and then it was I can only imagine it was what the when they were trying to escape Afghanistan before the Taliban took over again. It was like that. There was people lying all over the floor. It wasn't the nice way to finish a holiday, and I'll never go back because of that. But I was going to Turkey, so her family, they booked it. I just paid me money. Last night I was sat went, "What's that hotel called?" Just so I can have a look at it.
I've got a brilliant story about Turkey. Right, so I don't know how long I've been single. I really enjoy my single life. Before I was single, I was with this particular girl, and we went to Turkey, and we only went for 7 nights. And like you, I had naught to do with it. I want to go away. Well, you book it, you sort it. Just get it booked. So we flew out, and I'd never really been bothered about Turkey before. Not for any other reason other than, I just wasn't really that bothered. And we went, and the hotel were 45 minutes away from anywhere, which is all right, all inclusive. That's what she wanted. She was a big drinker. She enjoyed that. First day, we just made mates with loads of Russians and loads of Italians, and then she just got pissed. And then towards end of week, let's go out for a dinner to celebrate end of holiday. So we had to book a taxi. And it's, you're British, don't you, when you've got your final night's dinner's outfit ready. And you're going out with your brand new shirt. I'm going to wear that for my dinner last night. And brand new trainers, brand new jeans. She had a big posh frock on or whatever. And let's just categorise this. She went into fitness, right? At all. Like a gym. What's a gym? I'm not off at gym. I'm not going to stop drinking. Anyway, so taxi were late. So we had to phone. The taxi driver turned up and they were like, I don't normally come this far out. So I'm thinking, how far have you come? And he said it had taken him about 50 minutes. So we were like one of these little Peugeot people carriers. So we get in and we're in back and we're talking, we want to go to town and we want to find somewhere good to eat. And she wanted to do some shopping because apparently everything's made in Turkey. Or maybe copied in Turkey, I don't know. And so we're on, and it's like a triple, quadruple lane bypass motorway thing through the middle of fucking nowhere. And car starts slowing down as this taxi, right? So it's red hot. It's like fucking 40 degrees. And this taxi starts slowing down. I'm like, what? There's no to slow down for. There's nothing to slow down for. Like there's not very many cars on the road. I can't see anything. There's nothing to see. And he starts mumbling on and he starts saying stuff and his English were really bad. And he pulls over and I went, what's wrong? He went, I've run out of petrol. But so I said, right, okay, have you got a petrol can? He went, no. So in true Bazza style, I pushed a taxi 1.7 kilometres to the petrol station in my brand new shirt that I bought for dinner. You can imagine it was just like a wet bag over me by the time we got there. She just sat back at car laughing all the way there. And I pushed it 1.7k, this taxi, and he even fucking charged us when we got there as well. He even charged us full price. But yeah, that's just, I don't think I'll ever go back to Turkey.
This wasn't in Turkey, but it reminds us of something quite similar. I was in Malia as a 21, 22-year-old.
You're not much older now.
I'm 33 now, you know. I'm older than I look. Got ID'd not. Well, I told you last year when I got ID'd. But we booked a big lads holiday. I think there was about 30 of all together, lads and lasses.
Right.
The whole of my sort of hometown at the time, Bedlington, the whole of Bedlington was going. And
how big's your town?
Not very big. There's 30 people going, there's 35 people live there, so you know what I mean, there's a few people left over.
Some of them are grandmas and granddads.
And so we booked, again, I didn't like have anything to do with it. They were like, right, we're going here, sound, here's me money. For some reason, we were staying in, I think it's called Hassonasos or something like that. It's nowhere near Malia, by the way. So there was like, all the 25 people were in Malia on the strip, and we were 6-7 miles away. Right. That's fine, we'll just get a taxi. Taxis were on strike that week that we were on. So we had to get a bus through there, which was fine. We tried getting home at the night time. There was a couple of times where I just slept in random people's hotel rooms. But there was this one night I was really like rough, and I was like, I've been drinking all week. I'm just going to walk home. And it was like the sun was up. It was 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, this is hot now. Like, I was obviously been on the drink all night. So I just stood by the motorway and I put my thumb out and just to try and hitchhike a ride. And this guy in a moped pulled over. And he was like, I said, do you speak English? And he went, nah. I was like, Hasana sauce, like money. I don't know how much I give him. And he was like, yeah. So I jumped on the back of this guy's moped, just bombing down this little town, and we got to it was obviously like a 50cc, but like it was that old, it was probably about 15cc. Hit this hill and it just started like bogging down, so I had to get off and run alongside him while he's going up this hill, and he's like, yeah, the hill's at and I was like, back in the day when like people used to wear Toms, can you remember them?
Yeah.
But me Toms had been hitting his exhaust, so it burned a hole in the side, and then my ankle, like it was all burnt off this guy's exhaust. And then I got back to the hotel, burnt to bits, and I don't know how much it cost us. But
15 years time, we're going to be hearing Oliver tell stories about his holidays, aren't we?
I think it shapes you.
When we're in fight camp.
It shapes you.
When in fight camp, and Liam Harrison left me in the middle of the hotel on my own.
There's been some life lessons learned and all that.
But no, it's just carnage, just absolute carnage. And I remember that holiday, that's the only part I remember about it, actually, is that pushing that bloody taxi.
It's mad, some of the memories that you come, like, good or bad experiences.
I'd completely forgotten about it till you said where I'm going on holiday.
I've never been to Turkey either, so...
it's a beautiful place. We paid for... it was like a Jeep safari.
Right.
But again, we had to get the Jeep picked us up. So because we were so far away, it picked us up at like crack of dawn in the morning. 45-minute journey to this town, and everybody kind of congregated. I think it cost us something like about 50 quid each. But they took us like right up mountainsides. We went to waterfalls. We went to open rivers. We went out for lunch. Really like something else. And the food were really, really good as well. But we had a massive water fight. So they were like, if you imagine long wheelbase Land Rover Defenders, so that won't be the 90, it'd be like the 120, the 110, with the backs cut out, with roll bars put in. They all had like massive sound systems in. Everybody were crammed into the back of them. And this Jeep Safari, everybody followed each other up like the mountainside. And we went to some amazing places. Like you drive up a mountain and all of a sudden you get to a village and you can buy whatever you want, and there's fresh food, and there's a mosque, and everybody's really nice. And I think we visited a mosque, and then we went to a village. We did some shopping. Then we went to a waterfall, and then they said, right, you're having a water fight, so get your bottles, get your water guns, get everything filled up. And they basically had a drone above us, and one set of Land Rovers goes in one direction, one set of Land Rovers goes in other, and when you cross each other, you just start bailing out, and everybody was just absolutely drenched.
How long ago was this?
5 years ago.
Was it? That's not that long ago, really, is it?
Yeah, and definitely no health and safety.
No.
Like everybody's like hanging out at the back of these Land Rovers.
Typical foreign holiday where this.
But again, it makes you realise just how restricted we are in like some of the things we've got to do regarding regulation. That were great. You'd never get that in Scarborough. You'd never get that in Newquay, like water fight in Midlet Road. But it were good. It were really good. We had a great time. Beautiful place.
I'm looking forward to it. Like, I mean, let's say I'm still not drinking, so they'll be probably on the piss all day. And
you think you go back to drinking? Because I don't think I'll ever go back.
Nah, I don't think I will. Johnny was out. When was it? Thursday night, I think he was out with his missus. And he rang us and he finished for his holiday. So Johnny's just flown to Ibiza today.
Right.
Or this morning.
My mate's gone to Ibiza this morning. She sent me a picture from airport, the lucky bitch.
Johnny basically pretty much did the same to me. I mean, he's drinking, but I think he'll just drink today. But he said on Thursday, like he was out till like 3 o'clock in the morning. He didn't have loads to drink, but he was buying people drinks. He said, I spent 150 quid. He said, I feel tired. And like he said, I'm going to Ibiza. And he's like, well, just... I mean, Ibiza, you'll probably queue about 3 hours just to get a drink anyway. So he's like, nah, I don't think I will. I don't miss it. Like I say, I've got a season ticket for Newcastle, so I go out with the lads still, and I just get me 0%, and they don't care. No one else really notices. He stood with a bottle that just looks like you've got a beer. And I think there's like a placebo effect, because when I've had a couple of 0%, you feel like a bit more relaxed, and I don't know what it is. Like, there's obviously no alcohol in it.
I think it is a placebo. I've noticed that. I drink the Asahi.
That's lovely.
Japanese, really, isn't it? Japanese beer, beautiful.
It's lovely.
I'll drink that one, and if I have a couple, I do feel a little bit more relaxed.
I don't know what it is like.
But there again, my dad had a placebo once on a medical trial, and he came back and he thought it were great. So the placebo effect does work.
Yeah.
Well, that when he was really poorly before he died, I took him to the hospital, to the rheumatoid hospital. We spent all day in there. And I was sick of not knowing if he'd spoke to a doctor or not. And I asked to speak to a doctor, and he said, we can't inject your joints, Malcolm, because, you know, with your platelet problem, you're going to bleed out. You know, you might have a problem. He said, but we're going to try you on this drug. We might not know if it's going to work or not. We'll probably know within 6 months. So that particular day, my dad's pain was that bad. I pushed him in a wheelchair. We didn't have a wheelchair. I kind of got him out of the van and like wheeled him in a wheelchair. He walks out.
What? But it was a placebo.
He walked out like well. They don't even. They said that it had taken at least 6 months for if that drug had have worked for at least 6 months for him to see an effect. He walked out of the hospital. Oh look, I feel great now.
Did he come straight to work?
Yeah.
I remember one day he came out of the hospital and he must have rang our place. I picked the phone up and I always had the same crack, how you feeling and all that. And he'd tell us everything that's been going on. I was like, bloody hell, Malcolm. And he's like, do you know what it is though? He says, I just wanted to get back to work. I was like,
the last message I've got from him is on the Thursday night. He died on the Saturday. Well, he died on the Sunday, but when I got there on the Saturday, he'd already had the major bleed. On the Thursday, the minute I get out of hospital, I'm going to get you some staff. I can't wait just to get back to normal now. He lived for it, didn't he? You know,
I did.
But there were another time he started having AF. So that were like, I think that's when one part of your heart beats at a much faster rate and the other part doesn't.
I think my stepdad's got that. So do they like shock one side to try and get the rhythms to match or something?
They can, or they can give you the beta blocker.
Right.
So they tried him on an oral beta blocker, but it didn't work. So they had to do it. I think they had to do it on like an infusion to get him in. I turned up at hospital. There he is. Look, that's after.
Do you know, that's such a good photo.
240 BPM was his heartbeat. I walked in, it were like bang, and he went, "You all right, love?" Still in his work boots and his work gear. My mum's next to him, and they had a great big it must have been like a 50-inch TV at the side. I'm looking at and I'm thinking, how's his heart still in his chest? You all right, Dad? Oh, I'm all right, love. Yeah, they'll get this under control. Don't worry about it. They've been talking to somebody, and they're gonna give me it now in an infusion. And I don't think they got home till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And he had a couple of, and it came, that picture is when he came back. Send this to Big Ollie. Let him know that I'm all right.
What a beast, man.
Just a machine.
You should get that, and like, when Rogan's got a guest on and he's saying like, oh, have you seen this? And then it just like pops up in the screen. You should get something like that. Or like when he only says, Google that, Jamie. Like all the time.
We're going to have to get Oliver in at school holidays. Oliver, just Google this, Oliver.
Just Google that. Oh, you can go into such a rabbit hole doing stuff like that.
Well,
me and Johnny do that. We drove home from Taunton a few weeks ago.
Where's that?
South of Bridgewater. So it's like a 7-hour drive for us home. So we drove home and we had oh God, that Chris Williamson on Modern Wisdom. We had an ex-US government official on talking about Trump and all this sort of stuff. And me and Johnny's just sitting there in complete silence while listening to this episode. Like, and then we're like, do you think that would... Why didn't I Google it? So we'd like then start reading into things. 7 hours, like, just of that sort of stuff. My head was battered by the time I got out of the car, like.
What about the one that you sent me? And you went, I got home after listening to a Rogan one. And I last said she thought I'd seen a ghost. That one, that screwed me up for about a week.
What was he called again? Louis something. He was a ex-Pentagon...
Louis...
it was like a Mexican type...
Louis Elizondo.
That was Elizondo.
Elizondo. So I don't know the full story and the intricacies, but I think he worked for a particular division to look into the UFO phenomenon. And I've heard a lot of the story before, and that isn't what did it. The thing that got me was the part that I pulled over. I had to like leave the workshop, and I went and sat in Max and Spencer's car park for 10 minutes and like got my breath back. I was like sweating under my armpits. And he speaks about the ultimately, you know, I know everybody in the industry must just take the piss out of my UFO kind of beliefs, but he was speaking about it with Rogan, and he said ultimately, I think there's a much bigger picture. You know, the spirituality, the connection, the consciousness connection with it all. Stuff that everybody seems to be asking the question now, but you know, we still seem to be millions of miles away from the answer. He said, but the point of it for him was, and it was such a similar situation to my dad. And I spoke about it with my mum after you said. And he said, Louis was saying that his mum she was poorly, and I think she was pretty much in a coma. And the family were there, and they were called in, and I think it was like, you know, everybody needs to get here now. It's not far from the end. And he said when she finally took her final breath, there was like a connection. She opened her eyes, and although she was like pretty much gone, he witnessed something happen at at that moment. And it rings. So when my dad died, we'd been there all night. And you got to a point where you don't go anywhere, Dad. I'm just off to the loo. I'll see you when I get back. And we did that all night long. Dad, I'm just off for a coffee. I'll be back in 5 minutes, because we were there for such a long time. And then when it was weird, because previously that week, it had me fixing stuff for nurses on ward. He was like, I've not had any sleep all night. I said, oh, why? What's up, Dad? You're not being well? No, that machine's been beeping. I've got manual up for manufacturer. And so, Baz, I need you to fix it for me. So he had me fixing stuff up ward, and nurse were like, that's been to maintenance 5 times. He was like, well, you got right team on now. So my dad's in this bed, and I reckon we're, I don't know, final hour, the last hour. And don't forget, I don't know at this point if we even know that my dad knew that we were there, okay, because the bleed had been that bad. So my brother-in-law had come back in the morning because my sister was just a mess, and my mum's with him, and we got given these swabs because obviously my dad's just been doing the death breath for like 20 hours, and everything was getting dry, and my mum's using these swabs to keep all his mouth. And the nurse said we were allowed to use a straw, like when you go to the dentist and they stick your tongue to it.
Yeah.
Well, we were allowed to like suck his mouth out. And I could hear my dad in my head going, turn that fucking regulator up, Bazza, it's not sucking. I could hear him in my head. And that was first part when I thought, thinking back, it's really weird. Like, why would I think that? Why did I hear that?
Yeah.
And it was I could genuinely, fucking turn it up, Bazza, what's wrong with that? I could hear it. And then when he took his final breath, there was just a split second, and I can't kind of talk about how long that was in actual time. I don't know if it was very short, fractional, marginal amount, or a really long period in time. But one of his eyes slightly opened, and that connection that Louis speaks about, I witnessed, I felt personally, and that podcast, I listened to that part over and over again, thinking that's what I've just experienced with my dad. And then I was like, that honestly, mate, that was grim.
That was like, I went on my bike and I had my headphones in, so trying to cycle and listen to that at the same time, I was like, what? Obviously, the other stories that he had, because that was quite late in the episode, I think.
Right at the very end.
Right at the very end. So I think I was home, and I've got, like, when I take all my gear off in the garage, I've got, like, a little stool that she used to have in her dressing room. So I just sat, because I'm actually going to throw it away, but I just sat, like, listening to the end of it. And I walked upstairs, I still had my headphones in, and I just walked in the room, trying, what's wrong with you? Like, I was like, honestly, and do you know when you've listened to such a, is a good episode a right way to say it, because it was like
engaging episode.
It's got you like that, and that class as a good episode, because some of them, a lot of the time, my attention span, I'll be like, I don't even know what he's going on about now. But that one, I listened to every word that he said, and he had us from minute one. You
said the part that you were really worried about were like the size of the things that are being tracked underwater.
Oh.
That are like the size of oil rigs.
Aye, because the whole, anything like, when you're explaining something that's flying around, you're like, fair enough, but there was a story about tracking something bigger than an oil rig at 500 knots.
Underwater.
And then I was like, nah. And then you went to think about it, that we know more about the surface of the moon than we do what's under the ocean. And then the whole thing about, when some people say it just can't be, it's not possible. And then he breaks it down and thinking, look at, what we do with our enemies, or what America and China do. They just keep an eye, America and Russia, they keep an eye on each other.
All the time.
He said, why is it not plausible that someone has got more, because the whole, the advancement in our technology is the last 150 years has been more than the last...
Very, very, very short.
More than the last however many hundreds and hundreds of years. So he's saying, why is it possible that there's someone 150 years ahead of us, which has got something that we may have in that time, which is just watching what we're doing? And I was sitting there going, Jesus Christ, like thinking about it, and it was just one of those where...
You think about the technology now, the technology that we've got our hands on that's at our disposal. So in 1997... You think about what music are in charts. How old were you in 1997?
6.
Right. You think about what you were doing at 6. Think about what you had at your disposal. No iPad.
No. Scalerics.
Right. Good upbringing, mate. Good upbringing.
Shit hot round corners. I had what was it? It was an Audi rally car replica. I'll never forget it. I loved that. Ice skate electrics.
Didn't have an iWatch. Didn't have a smartwatch.
Nah, nothing.
Didn't have an iPhone. Well, the iPhones would have been 97.
It wasn't 97.
Was it not?
No, my first ever phone was a Nokia 3210. And that would have been 12.
I had a Sony Ericsson, so yeah, and I didn't get a phone till...
Remember the Walkman phones?
Yeah.
And then you had the Nokia N95, which was the first 5 megapixel camera. I was 16 when I had that.
My first Nokia with a camera were like a brick. It was like and it had a keyboard on, I think. Yeah.
So then the N95 used to push both ways, and you pushed it one way, and it had like the play, pause, stop buttons.
I didn't have that one.
But I was in college, so I was 15, 16 when that came out. So that was probably around when the first gen iPhone was out.
When the iPhone came out, in comparison to what we've got now, it's got AI built in. It's going to have like 128 gig hard drive minimum as standard. It's going to be able to do Photoshop, edit videos. It's going to be able to write stuff for you and do stuff. It's going to be able to edit your photos for you.
I've seen that advert that's just come out. You know, the lass who was in Game of Thrones. She was she was in charge of like this certain part of the North, and she's killed in, spoiler alert, she's killed in the last the Battle for Winterfell. She's in the new iPhone where she gets sent a script or something, and it just does a button which summarizes it, so you don't have to read it all. So it's essentially AI.
Yeah.
But that podcast I was listening to on the way down here, he said now that if he wants an intelligent conversation, he says he has a conversation with that ChatGPT, because he says that the level of satisfaction he gets from an intellectual conversation, he says he actually talks to it. So Chris Williamson, there was some study on, I can't even remember. I'm going to look into it now when I go home though. And he says it's unbelievable. It was something where he tested, where he made like basically the AI like conscious of itself or something like that. And he says, have you seen it? Have you seen this thing where he does it? And I was like, eh. So I'm going to look into that when I get back.
I know there's a guy that's right into AI, a really old guy as well, who made a language model of his dad, so he could have a community, so he could still talk to his dad, although his dad's gone. That's clever. You think about the stuff that we can potentially do, all brings you back to this fact that, you know, a lot of people's kind of belief in the UFO phenomenon and the not just the UFO phenomenon, but like the technology side of it. It comes from the fact that React is going to be able to 3D print stuff that we never imagined out of steel, out of materials that we never thought we were going to be able to do it out of. I don't honestly think that the next level of what we need to do to evolve is going to be, I don't think we can do it without stuff like that. We need to be able to 3D print metal.
Yeah.
And porcelains, stuff like that.
It's such a weird time at the minute. Like in terms of technology wise, we've obviously developed it, but there's a massive worry about the whole AI side, isn't there? Like, are we developing something which could technically wipe us out in a way? Can you remember I need to go back to this just before I forget it. You know, we were talking about the Americans and the Russians watching each other. And so in the Cold War, that guy was saying that they actually had to ring each other up and say, if you see someone coming over the horizon, just give her a ring first, because it might not be us. It might not be us.
Don't bomb us. Don't press a big red button. It might not be us.
Like, so they had that in the Cold War. When was that? Like the 70s?
Cold War, what into 80s as well, wasn't it? So 70s and 80s.
So they had that conversation back then.
And we've been seeing stuff in air way before Roswell, which was 1947.
Who was that guy that used to do all... Because he's mentioned quite often. I think you mentioned him in the...
Bob Lazar.
That's it, yeah, he's mentioned quite often on that as well.
He was... My first ever video into Bob Lazar was with my dad. We bought the video of VHS from HMV. And he was on that one. Speaking then, you know, we have in our possession alien craft.
Yeah, that was it, So there was a material that basically could not have come from this planet. Was basically...
Element 115.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, element... also known as Moscovian.
Didn't they find something to do with pyramids where they found basically a like in a tomb that they found this, I don't know, it was like a weapon or something which was made out of something that couldn't have come from Earth as well. So I don't know if it was mentioned. I read it somewhere.
Thing about the pyramids that really gets me is the level of accuracy of the machining. Like the granite that's at 90 degrees perfectly machined.
It's strange, isn't it?
And then we've got people that can't, send somebody fabrication. They can't make it 90 degrees, can't make it square.
You should see the state of the houses built on my housing estate.
I've lived in a new build that you like, and you just look at like
shit, terrible.
What's gone on? That's where money comes into it, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's powered by everything.
But these black projects, I think, it's like you say. I don't think we're going to be getting great big billets of material and machining all the waste of it out forever. I think we're going to be making things from scratch.
Yeah.
So if you need a bracket, well, that video you sent me, and it's just making a tube in reality.
Where it's basically, it's got the clock in the background. Is that right?
Yeah.
Me and Johnny were looking at that because obviously when we were in Germany, all those tubes were still there, and there was a couple as you walked out. Basically, it was made out of an umbrella stand. So we were walking out the door, and I was like, "Oh, Johnny, there's them tubes. Aye, they've gone to good use having this." So I basically built up this umbrella stand.
So if you give AI an idea, I need you to draw me and then make me a machine, or you're going to make me a particular bracket, and it comes up with a CAD drawing and then sends it via software and talks to your Titan.
XNet.
That's connected to any robotic arm, and it works out how much it's got to move up or whatever every time for the additive layer, and it works all that out for you. That is going to give you so many more opportunities of production.
That's such a frightening aspect, but like a brilliant concept at the same time. But it's mad to think that you're probably not that far away from that now.
No, I don't think. Well, you've only got to watch one of the. It might be Avatar, or it might be Avatar 2, and you actually see like these bots crawling on stuff, 3D printing stuff or welding stuff. But it's a bot. It's done. But I think for me, I think that's potentially going to be the next step. So you want to order something. Let's say you don't have the money for a robot arm but you tell AI what you want, and that then sends that instruction to your fabrication company. Their software takes that as a CAD design and works out, and their machines 3D print it for you.
I was in a college. Did I tell you about that college where the teachers were saying that kids were basically just scanning everything on like the presentations that the lecturers are putting out, and it's basically just writing an essay for them now. So they've got to be aware of this. I think that either you've got this software which can detect if it's being done by AI or something like that. So they're saying even them now are just going like that, or takes all the bullet points and it'll just write the final essay for them. It's like, fuck, I wish I had that at school.
Yeah.
That would have been so much easier.
I would crap at essays.
But then they say in the next 2-3 years when they're qualified and out in the big wide world, they're going to get found out big time, won't they?
Yeah. I think people like my uncle, he teaches kids with education. So he's got like some severely disabled kids that he goes into their schools. But he's managed to get them a qualification by giving them the tools to do their own work.
Yeah.
So she wrote, there was a particular girl, she couldn't write or whatever, but she managed to write a full essay and got better grades than other people because he said he took away the hurdles, the problems. He just gave her the tools to be able to actually write speech to text, the essay how she wanted it to be.
Yeah.
So she got a better grade than other people because he took away the limitations. And I think that's what we need to do. Yeah, and it comes back to welding kit. You hear it online, don't you? You might as well buy a TIG welder at $1,000. You don't need that Tetrix ACDC 230 XQ. Well, you do actually if you want to do the job properly with an expert panel.
Yeah, I love that panel.
It's one of my favourite panels now.
I just need it on on the MIG side, really, don't we? So
The MIG side does look a little bit dated when you look at the expert panel on like the Titan.
it is coming. It's well, I think December is
Is that going to be the launch?
only for external remotes are going to have it.
So you could have the old panel but buy a new external remote.
Yeah,
That's one way to do it.
but I think basically what we'll probably have a new wire feed coming out, like to replace the XQ, the Drive XQ.
Is that because the panel won't fit in that?
Pretty much, yeah.
It's a much bigger panel, isn't it?
Yeah.
I went to that company the other day. We're doing their calibration. They didn't buy their EWMs from me, and I ended up giving them like some hands-on. I'm like, "You've not got your machine set up. Let me give you a bit of my time." And I was going through the panel, and even when you go to like the help on the settings, and it's all actually built in, that's so helpful to people.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. And I think that could probably evolve as well.
I think some people are scared of using it at the same time. So, you hear it all the time now where people want simplicity.
I just make it, if that's what they want, I just make it really, really simple. Yeah.
That's the beauty of that panel. I only really push, I shouldn't say this, but I really do push that more than the standard comfort panel. But the comfort panel is good if you...
Comfort's got a place.
It has if you've come from the 2.0, if you want to go...
Or you've come from something not even that good.
Yeah.
The next level of the expert panel might just be too much.
Yeah, but if you...
Or somebody.
If you have the extra money, then it's definitely worth investing in that panel.
Where's your next stop after being here with me? Where are you going next? Are you going home, or are you nipping around the corner to some undisclosed suspect?
No, I'm going home. I'm going to Glasgow tomorrow, so...
Yeah. What are you doing in Glasgow? What's going on?
I can't really say it.
Can't tell me, can you?
Nah, I'm a man of mystery.
Few words.
Nah, I mean, I'm definitely not a man of few words, but you've just got to be... It's one of them things you kind of give away all your secrets, can you? So
otherwise, somebody will hear it, and there'll be 9 people knocking on door.
Exactly.
We'll have another LinkedIn escapade.
Now I've got something good coming up. So I've got that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday back in the office, Friday back in the office, and then Monday I'm going to Inverness, and then I'm on my holidays.
I've got a challenge for you.
What?
So you know your little air freshener.
Yeah.
You've got to get like a picture of it, like, over the next few days at some like really cool places. And I don't mean it's shithole, right? on toilet handle. I'm like, you've got to take some pictures of it in some right cool places.
I can definitely do that, like.
And post it to me.
I think I'd be surprised where I could get some photos of that then, like.
I don't want to know, especially if it's on holiday after a night out.
Oh, I could hang it from some...
If I get a picture of you pushing a taxi to a petrol station in Turkey, then that'll be fun.
With that hanging off his indicator or something like that.
Yeah. Are you? Do you think you're going to sign up to this race team?
Probably, because I'm at the point now where I'm weighing up the potential damage to myself and bike if I crash, which is more than likely. Because if you're in a scenario with that, there's a lot of high speed people trying to push in and all that sort of stuff, and there's pile ups and. I'm just at the minute like, that doesn't frighten us, but I'll think more about the damage to my bike. So gonna effectively
not yourself, or the fact you might have 12 weeks off work.
Nah, I couldn't give a shit about that. It's like if my bike, you see, yesterday I watched the World Championship time trial, and Jay Vine, the Australian kid, got it really bad. I mean, this is just a time trial, so it was only him, but there was a little tricky descent, and I think he got it massively wrong. And if you see the pictures of him, he's in a bad way. So that's just him on the road by himself.
What's it going to be like with like?
Well, like you say, like the main peloton is 180 of those, but the racing that I'm on about doing is like crit racing. So it was like, I don't know, 30, 40 guys.
Still enough to run into you, especially if you're up front like you.
But then not be like, I mean, I'm not experienced in racing, but you've already got those people who might not necessarily be that experienced, and the line might be wrong. And I'm a pretty good bike handler in my own opinion, like, but
I'm gonna have to do a Rogan and go for a piss, mate.
I never. That's
I needed that.
That's Jay Vine at the weekend.
Jesus, he looks like he's been absolutely smashed to pieces.
It's bad. I mean, to be fair, he got back up and finished, so fair play to him, like.
You think Is it inevitable that kind of thing is going to happen if you're racing at the level that you're probably going to sign up and race at?
I mean, I've had crashes and I haven't raced, so it's inevitable. And if you want to win, then you've got to put yourself in some positions that people, there's just a gap. I'm going to go for it. If someone else is going for it, then we'll see who gets there first, basically. But I think if I don't do it now, I'll regret it. My dad's been pushing us for years to get a number on me back, so
I think it needs to happen.
Aye.
We can get some MS Welding t-shirts made for you, mate.
Well, I'd need a skin suit or something like that. So no, I'm looking forward to it. Like, just opens up another door to explore into, you know. So
I think it'd be really cool for you, buddy. I think it'd be brilliant.
The fact that, like, I mean, you know, like we were saying earlier with endurance and all that, and it's not really, you know, age is just a number, and I'm 33 and all that, but I'm faster now than I was when I was 25. So, and cycling's one of them things that you can go for God knows how long. The people in them races are in their 50s and they're beasts.
I think one of the guys that I used to do a lot of running with, he didn't really peak, and I don't even think he's peaked yet. He didn't come into his prime for the endurance kind of stuff until he got to like 49, 50, and then he was doing like 50k and 100k non-supported runs.
The guy who does my my sports massages, he does 100-mile ultra marathon runs, and he's probably early 50s.
I think I don't know what it is. I don't understand the fundamentals behind it, but it's an age thing. Like, I don't think it's something you could do at like 21.
I don't know, because like you've got the people, like there's kids now winning the Tour de France at 20 years old. I think it's just like, if they're obviously, people are capable, but the longevity side of it, I don't know. It's one of them, you know, we were talking earlier about drinking and all that. It's amazing how much you can still do even after the punishment that you've put your body through. So I'm looking forward to it, like, definitely.
Are we having this?
I'm gonna have my hot shot.
This is the for everybody. If you're listening and you're not watching, you need to watch this now. Cold pressed shot. I've not. I have had one of these.
You told us to get this in?
Aldi are doing like a rip-off version of it, but Aldi's version is not as good as this one.
Well, they not just have a lot of sugar in and that.
It don't make you pull funny faces like this one does. Okay, now. That is my favourite one. That I could have that all day.
I didn't think I could have it all day. Like,
fucking hell, it's made my skin go red.
That's only the second one I've had. My eyes are watering.
Oh man, they're my favourite. Oliver, he smashes some of them before training.
Jesus.
Yeah, before he gets in the ring, he'll smash one of them in the van, and then he'll slap himself about a bit. Then he's like, "Oh, make sure we got some of them in van, Dad."
Getting them, was it them smelling salts? Have you seen them?
We were talking about that the other day.
The videos, Rogan has them on all the time, and he hasn't even got them out of the box, and you can smell it through the box.
And everybody's like,
and he keeps going. Have you seen Theo Von?
When he did it,
he just has funny. A hit for it. Oh, he's got serious.
He's funny. He's funny, that guy, isn't he?
He's class. But he's like, I'm just gonna have another go at it. I'm like, why? I like it.
Yeah, he interviewed Donald Trump, didn't he? And that was funny. Like, he said some stuff, and you could see Trump looking, going, "All right."
I was thinking about that the other day as well. You know, like the whole Trump thing. Like, imagine if that was all caught live on TV when they tried to assassinate him. At this time of period, like, obviously, you know, we had the whole JFK thing. There was a very limited footage of that.
Yeah,
that would have been mental. Absolutely mental.
I kind of look at it and I kind of think, why does always that kind of thing seem to happen abroad?
No, it's always America.
We don't really experience that on European and UK soil.
Definitely not in the UK. But it seems like I was talking to Beth about this, about, you know, all the weird documentaries on Netflix. It's all America.
Yeah.
And you just think that would never happen here. But they're just a mad bunch. But
They use Miller and Lincoln welders all day, mate. Must be something to do with that.
I'm not saying anything because I'll get
I'm not saying that about it either, but they don't use enough EWM stuff in America. That's what I'm saying.
They use quite a few TIG speeds in America.
Do they?
Apparently they do.
Did you post about that on LinkedIn?
No.
No.
That's just someone told us about it. I don't know if it's something that they'll look into in the future, whether they want to branch more into. We've sold a few machines from the UK over to America. I
had a chap that he used to do bespoke custom supercar exhausts, and he bought Tetrix 230s off me, not the XQ. And when he were going out there, he wanted something to run on the American voltages, and it needed to comply. I think he ended
up 480
480
over there or something, isn't it? Was it 480?
And 110, like their single phase is 110.
I don't know about the 110. I just know that the 3-phase, I'm sure it's something like 480 volts.
Was it 110 and 380? I don't know. It's 60 hertz though. But that's why Miller stuff in America is so good. Because the primary inverters on the Miller stuff is like they had multi-range, multi-voltage before anybody else. So like you could send it to an oil rig and run it on 110, and the cable were that thick. Or you could put it on. You could run it up to 600 volts, and it just had this really big, wide voltage range that you could run them within. And Miller had that 15, 20 years ago. Some of the XMTs. After I think it was the 350, were the first time that I'd experienced this wide voltage input. And I think that's purely because of the American market, like proper suited to that market. And I don't know if Lincoln do that, but Lincoln's got such an established name for the pipe side. Like every big kind of welding rig, every big kind of welding truck that you see where the guy's got his welding truck and he goes out to do welding jobs, or he works on a pipeline. Majority is a Lincoln or a Miller machine on it.
Yeah. It must be a lot like smaller market in terms of competition over there for, there's loads of brands now at the UK going for it.
Yeah, UK seems to be overly saturated. I often look at the UK market and think, is there any room for anybody else to try and bring something else in?
I can imagine from a customer's side, like how you even make your mind up, like, because potentially you could be looking at 4, 5, 6 machines.
And then if you look at the marketing from all of those, like somebody probably pays a marketing team to do a really good job, and then that company markets their machines but slightly differently. And then you have a look online and it does a price comparison, and there's 10 single phase machines that you can take a pick at. Or there's 10 400 amp water cooled welding machines that you can take your pick at. And apparently on paper they all do the same thing.
Yeah.
They've all got a synergic curve. They've all got a synergic curve.
Marketing, you've got to be so careful. I think I had this conversation with Johnny. He was saying, "Oh, well, it says it does this and it does that." I was like, "Yeah, but it's not going to say it doesn't do this and it doesn't do that, or else anyone's going to buy it." Like that's what like marketing is. Like,
yeah.
Like I was saying, can you imagine a salesman going in and just saying, "No, this is a pile of shit, mate. Do you want it?" And the customer's going to say,
"It's $5,000 cheaper than everybody else's, but you'll want to sell it in 3 months' time."
Exactly. Like marketing's, you've got to be careful. Just do your research and speak to people who's got them.
I think we've got a really good product, an EWM company anyway.
Yeah. I think for me, obviously, like, my background of the John Deere side as well. So I've gone from there to another like high-end brand, and I think it makes my job so much easier, just having a good product behind you. Obviously, price is factored into it quite a bit, but
I think selling a cheaper product is much harder when you're used to selling such a high-end product as well. Like, if somebody comes over the counter and there's absolutely no way that they're ever going to buy an EWM machine, not even a Pico TIG, not even a Pico MIG. They want something cheap. Believing in yourself that the cheaper machine is going to do what they want is really hard. Quite often they're the kind of sales that I'd walk away from.
Obviously, I work with like loads of other different sales partners, and who obviously dabble in a bit of other things, and I'm not going to name brands or anything like that, but they just say like sometimes it's not worth the headache from all the problems that they get from other places. And I say I'm not going to comment on it, but I wouldn't want that stress personally.
The problem is in that market that everybody's got access to the machines. It doesn't matter what brand it is. There doesn't seem to be very much loyalty anymore. They will give it to a company if they open up a mile away from you. You know, somebody else is going to have the access to the same product. And that's just causes masses of dilution, but it's a race to the bottom because, well, company B round the corner is going to sell it for £5 cheaper than you. Well, I'll sell it for £10 cheaper than him then.
You're just driving down your own
So all the market goes to the bottom.
Yeah.
And then when something goes wrong, because it's a cheaper machine, it's made in a cheaper way. I'm not saying that cheaper machines aren't any good. What I'm saying is ultimately that there's a corner being cut somewhere. Either it be in R&D or production or using cheaper parts to be able to compete at that price point. There's got to be something.
Yeah.
You know, got to be something in that machine for it to be, you know, affordable at those price points. If I've then got to break off a job that I'm earning money at, to parcel that up or phone the guy that's going to collect it to send it back under its warranty period and then send that back to my customer and deal with the crap that I'm going to get from him in the short term, it's much easier to walk away from it, I think, and say, this is what I offer. This is why I offer that.
Yeah.
If something did go wrong, I'm not saying that every single machine that we sell has never gone wrong with a problem, but if something does go wrong, we're going to be able to look after you. You know, and there's enough money in the profit margin in it to make sure that you're not going to lose out. It's not about making the big money. It's about the fact that you will lose out the minute something goes wrong if you've cut your nose off at the price point. And that seems to be forgotten at the minute. Oh, it won't go wrong. Oh, it's not my problem when it does go wrong.
Well, as a sales, I mean, I've done both now. So obviously my background was a service engineer. Sometimes as a sales guy there, well, if it goes wrong, it's the service side that'll sort it out anyway. And obviously because I've transitioned, people will still ring me if there's a problem.
Yeah.
Like we had it with that Titan, you know, you say, what's this? And I've still got to retain that knowledge and I've still got to care about it. I can't just say, well, obviously I've got Ben at our place. Ben, that's broken, go and fix it. It's not what I want to do. I have left a lot of like me sort of call it like sort of, you know, the knowledge that you need to get out of your head so you can fill it with
Other
like
stuff.
more useful stuff, you know, like old Tritons and all that now. It's, you know, I don't really think about it. If Ben gets one in, he'll ask us about it because he hasn't had the experience on it. But at the moment, I'm racking my brains with it because it's not something I'm using now. But I needed that to like get rid of a little bit.
A little bit of a declutter. Mental declutter.
Yeah, just so I can sort of make myself a better, not sales. Sometimes I don't like the word better salesman.
I don't like the word salesman in general. I think it's...
it relates to as like car salesman, and there's some people on LinkedIn that come like the car salesman type thing. That doesn't sell well, I don't think. No,
and something that's getting at me at the minute, it's getting under my skin, is this valued customer thing.
I use existing. Valued, I don't know.
But everybody seems to be. This going out to another valued customer. Any customer that's spending money with you is valued. Every single customer that you spend that's got the time to even phone you or email you is a valued customer. So I think that's a little bit overused at the minute. But the welding industry is really good at copycatting.
What, in terms of like product?
So somebody posts something in one particular way. Doesn't take long before everybody, subconsciously or consciously, seems to post in a very similar way. I had it pointed out, that 19 pallets of wire has been on LinkedIn 7 times.
Right.
Those 15 machines have been on LinkedIn 15 times. And then they all start to word the posts very similar.
Right.
I never realised it until it was pointed out. And then I started looking and I was like, people seem to follow suit. It's a very small industry.
I think we had this conversation and I did notice it was a while ago now where someone had posted a load of machines ready to go out, but only half of them had calibration certificates on. And I think what they'd used was stock ones. And like I said, it makes a good photo.
Of course it does. Yeah, and it's good advertising.
Of course it is. And like I say, but I think some people have done the whole try and make ourselves, during this quiet period that some people have experienced, just trying to keep themselves not relevant, but like we are still here, we're still offering this, and if you need anything, it's like marketing in a way.
Yeah.
So I understand why people do it. I don't do it myself.
It is just a giggle.
I just post stuff on there because I like to look at the kit on there, and it's nice to show your own.
EWM stuff is really good looking kit.
Yeah, it doesn't stay the same colour for very long.
No. But they've got no intention in moving from that colour though, have they?
Nah. They've changed the torches though. So I think the PMs have gone to a more darker handle. I don't know if you've seen
with the red ring now. They've got a red ring, which is very similar to my reception area. Actually, as a colour, it looks really good.
They've got more of a darker handle. I don't know whether that was because I don't know. Who cares if your torch gets dirty, really? But
I do like the torches. I just wish people would take a bit more care over them.
It's never going to happen, unfortunately.
Because it's always me that gets a grief from the buyer or the shop floor, and you turn up and there's like 10 in a pile and going, yeah, but 9 of them's been chopped in half. And I'll show you where they've been chopped in half.
Yeah.
So if you want me to change the gas hose, the water hose, the outer sheath, the power cable, and your neck needs doing, right? By the time I put my hourly rate on there and put all new parts on and then put consumables on, it's actually cheaper to buy a new torch with a bit of discount.
Yeah.
But they think you're having the pants down. And I'm like, I'm actually not. The power cables are really expensive. The heads are really expensive.
They blame the product. Again, it's like what we spoke about earlier about those the wire feeders that's been like abused. And they're saying to me, what can we do about it? Just tell them to stop abusing it. Like, it's like we're like scared to upset. But, when someone hasn't paid their own money for it, there's a lack of respect sometimes towards kit. I mean, that's in every industry as well. We had it at John Deere where the council workers used to crash the tractors into a tree and just laugh about it. Just can't get another one, So it's not just welding, but there's that. But it is the company's responsibility to say, look, we've invested in this kit to make your job better and to make it better for us. So
I think the problem is because of the lack of really, really good welders. They don't want to upset any of the welders that they've got whatsoever. So it doesn't get passed down, unfortunately.
Do you ever, when you go on site and you're doing your calibrations and your services, do you ever have a machine, the same guy, every year, come over and he's the one that's looked after his kit?
Yeah, I think every company's got one or two people.
Yeah, it's quite nice when you come across that, to be fair. Like.
I think, or when I'm going out teaching, there's always one machine I prefer to grab because I know I'm not going to have to do loads of resetting on it.
Yeah.
It's always set up. He's not fiddled with it. He's not tried to mess about with menus.
Or have it set to a 3.2 tungsten.
It were a 1 mil tungsten with 0% start current.
I thought you said it was a 3.2.
But he had a 3.2 tungsten in it.
Ah, right, yeah.
So obviously we're trying to just like a right little bit of HF, no start current. Won't start? Well, no, it works. Like your tungsten's thicker than my finger. So that were a good one.
On the Pico Mig, there's a transport socket. So if you look on the front, there's it's a blank, and it is. If you look on the back, this guy from Ireland calls and says, "I've just bought a brand new Pico Mig, doesn't work." Straight out of the box. I was like, "That doesn't happen with our kit."
No,
and
I've never had that.
And when you say, "Is your power all right? Have you done this? Have you done that?" Yeah, I was like, "What job are you in?" Yeah. I says, "Look." And I said, you take a photo of it. And the loop was in the transport. He just pulled it out the box and obviously hadn't put it in the positive. So put it there. That world's brilliant, that.
That's right. I had a belt the other day. I remember when we sold our first batch of Alpha Qs. It's got that steel flap on the front.
So it's the 330?
550. But the wire feeder had the same panel if you had a Comfort on it.
Ah, right, yeah.
So it would have been Comfort 2.0 at that point. But the wire feeder, which was the Alpha Q drive, had the same paneling. And it had like this black flap.
Yeah.
It was steel for some reason. And the maintenance guy phoned my dad one morning and went, Malcolm, is Barry there? He went, yeah, why? Well, there's a problem with these new Alpha Qs that we've just installed. My dad says, well, tell me then what's wrong. What's he done? And bloke says, well, somebody's been in over the weekend and nicked out panels. Nicked out buttons out panels. And my dad went, what? He went, yeah, somebody's nicked all my buttons. I can't see my settings. And my dad was like, there's like a steel flap. This guy in charge of maintenance. Like this is their maintenance engineer. And so, I'm really glad it's not just me that gets it, but
maybe it was one of them was said earlier, when you just you've got that much going on, you overlook some of the simple things. Maybe it was a bit of that.
He overlooked a lot of simple things with that guy. He used to, I blown this machine out and that fan don't work. And he stood there with blower, like fucking leaf blower, full belt into a fan. It's like spinning at like 1 million RPM. And I'm like, yeah, you just blown your suppression diode in that, pal. That's never going to work again.
I think the most common for me is just people not changing the job numbers. Like, that happens all the time. I mean, a lot of places are using the same material, but there is quite a few like swapping between wires, and they never change it. And I've just put aluminium on instead of stainless, and it's not welding properly. And they just haven't told the machine.
What are you experiencing with consumable quality at the moment? Like not like tips. I'm talking about like wires and electrodes. Are you experiencing stuff's hard to get hold of, or are you experiencing like there's big discrepancies in like quality from one batch to another?
For me, it's not really my part of business, so I don't really have to worry about it.
I see it through a service side though.
Right.
Yeah. So
what, so like machines not performing well and you're having to go
out? Well, same wire. You have a look at batch number and there's 2 batches between it. You think, right, let's have a look then.
Yeah.
Let's pull another batch out of that pallet over there.
Well, you always look at the variables before you look at them. I mean, that's a way, because there's certain statistics done about, like failures of machines and all that sort of stuff. And I think it's only like something like 5% for EWM like, when it's actually the machine.
Right.
So a lot of it's to do with the torch, like you say, or the gas. So you always go through. Paul used to, when I first started, Paul was the one that used to go through it all, and I used to watch the way, and I like sort of just copied that mentality of saying, well, why are you using what gas and all that sort of stuff. And we even got to one site and it was a regulator on the bottle.
Yeah.
It was knackered, so it's the process of elimination really. So
I have seen it recently. Like, well, they were okay last week.
That's a telltale sign, isn't it?
Right,
What's changed between now and then?
And it's not any particular brand of wire or material either, and that's a bit concerning. But I have seen it, a good handful of times over the last month. Like, it were fine last week. Just do me a favour, take that roll of wire off, put a different roll of wire on, or on a machine that's set up quite tightly on a synergic curve and trimmed in for a particular job. Then they changed the batch of material. Machine's just not welding like it used to do last week. What have you changed? Whole new batch of material and the coincidence of changing the wire at the same time on a different batch. I've noticed that recently, and it's really had to be redialed in.
It wasn't with wire. I think we had a problem up north with the gas. There was a supply issue, and the quality side of it was...
Gas can sometimes be a real bitch.
Quite inconsistent.
I don't think people understand just how important the mixture of the gas is to the synergic curve and how much of an effect it has.
Yeah.
Obviously, like how much argon to CO2 you've got in there changes the atmosphere around that weld completely, and changes a massive dynamic of the arc. It changes it massively. And that's why you have different synergic curves for different mixtures of gas.
Yeah.
Getting that through to some people. And I think that's because on some of the budget machines or the cheaper machines, predominantly it's a very broad synergic curve. So you might have to run a synergic, like our stuff, to be fair. You're going to run it at 0 on the voltage trim. You might have to tweak it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, it's not uncommon for some of the cheaper machines to be running at like +6, +7, -6, -7 to try and get it to weld because it's such a broad curve.
Yeah.
And I do see that a lot. And then you've only got to chuck into the mix a bad wire or the wrong size tip or, gas that's a completely different mixture. But somebody asked me the other day for a water cooler for a 220, but I just thought you wouldn't necessarily water cool a 220 DC only. But you're telling me they're going to do an AC/DC 220.
I'm pretty sure I don't know when it's going to be released, but like I said, the Pico TIG 200 AC/DC is...
It's a very old machine now.
It is, yeah. People still buy quite a few of them, but like you said, it just needs a bit of a revamp now, doesn't it?
Because that's our entry level.
Yeah.
TIG, AC/DC TIG.
Yeah.
And it's just, unfortunately, it's not...
It's still like the old comfort panel.
And it's not...
It's almost like smart panel.
And it's not entry level money.
No, it's not. I can't remember the price off the top of my head,
but it'll last you forever unless something catastrophic goes wrong with it. But that's a problem, isn't it? People will buy cheaper, but maybe buy it 3 times. Unfortunately,
I like the what did you say about the warranty side of it?
Yeah, so if somebody comes to you and goes, "Well, this company, let's put it into perspective of 2 cars, car A and car B. Car A made in the UK with 2 years warranty. Car B made in a different part of the world with a 7-year warranty, and the one with the 7-year warranty is significantly cheaper than the one that's made in the UK with a 2-year warranty. And quite often they'll say, "Yeah, but look at the price difference, and this comes with a 7-year warranty." And I'm going to say, "Yeah, but you're going to need that warranty. You will need to use that warranty, and maybe more than once." Normally, if I get called out to a brand new EWM machine, I go out of justification of always being there for the customer. 99.9% of the time, it's something they've done. Very, very, very rarely machine. And the reason why I showed you that Titan with a fault is because I knew it was something that we'd not seen across the board.
Well, I had both. We were just looking at it going.
And when I said to you, who was it who we spoke to? And he said it's in the wire feed. I'm like, it can't be. But obviously, because normally when you get that kind of issue, it's a communication issue between those 2 items. And I'm scratching my head going, do you know what? I'll put this board in. But I'm adamant that it's not that. And when I worked it out that it was something that wasn't clocking at the right frequency on that board, because even when the boards arrived, I put the one in that I was adamant that was right first. And I was like, I knew it. And it just had to be clocking at a completely different frequency. And the way I worked it out is, if you left it for long enough, it energized. So obviously synchronized. Then if you shut it down and you turned it on, that time that it took to re-energize shortened. And it's shortened every time. So that to me tells me there's either a resistor or a capacitance which is in that part of that frequency circuit for the clocking, meaning that it's changing and it's clocking at a completely different frequency to what it should be doing. Like a little quartz clock or something.
That was a head scratcher, that one, wasn't it?
And it's the only one that we've had. And it'll be just one of those slight, minute changes in the component value.
Yeah.
It's been great to see you, mate. I'm going to have to wrap it up because I've got work to do.
Thank you very much for having us again, mate.
No, enjoy your holiday. Thanks for lunch.
No problem at all.
And get me some pictures of them, mate. I can't wait to see where that ends up.
I might have to take another one because this one's going to stay in my car.
There you go, mate. There's 2.
Excellent.
I'll have to get some more ordered. Can't I get some more? Get some more.
Does it
air
smell
fresheners.
nice? Like it smells quite similar to the one.
I'll tell you now though. It doesn't last long. So like it'd have gone in 2 days. Like when you get a magic tree and it makes your eyes water for a week. Yeah, these aren't going to make your eyes water for a week.
What's that down to though? Because I feel like I got my car valeted about 6 weeks ago, and it's still in there, and it still smells brilliant.
Really? What you need to do with that is get some of your favourite aftershave. Once it's worn out, put some of that on it. You got personalised.
I don't even. She does that nothing because I don't spend money on aftershave.
I don't either.
So I've had, the sample bottles that you get. I've had a sample bottle. It's about that big, and it's like I honestly never wear aftershave. Like never, even on a night out, I just don't care.
I don't give a toss.
Like people, like you say, you always have a laugh on that I'm quite vain because I like my hair done and that. But I generally don't give a shit what I smell like or what I dress like.
When I was younger, I did, but I don't give a toss now.
I didn't even then. I think aftershave's the most like
overrated thing.
And if someone says, "Oh, you don't smell or anything," well,
it's fine.
It's better than smelling like shit, isn't it? So
yeah.
So a sample bottle, she's like proper into it. She's like, "Well, you just get this aftershave." I've got that, man. It'll last us a good couple of years. That
Oliver goes to school like laced in it.
But he's as he. I remember. Was it back in the? Everyone used to stink a dupe.
My dad had some dupe.
Oh, that was strong. When we got to a school disco and everyone honking a dupe.
Fucking hell. And then it was the one in the tin with the bottle, Jean-Paul Gaultier.
Jean-Paul Gaultier did well.
But Oliver's wearing a Mont Blanc at the moment, which it smells amazing. And he's got the red one, and he puts it on, like he sleeps over Wednesdays, goes to school Thursdays. And I can when I get home from work on a Thursday night, it still smells of Oliver's trail let through the house. And I'm like, you put that on for any reason? No. Definitely has. And any girls at school that you like? No, they're all orange. They're all like Callum. Like Callum and Alan.
No, this is all natural.
So I'll see you in a couple of weeks then, mate. And then we'll have to start planning his Christmas edition special. Definitely. Picture does... I don't know if it's that one or not. You'll see it in a minute.
What, the
one... I've got one with the Santa's hat on.
Oh, there he is.
Ho, ho, ho. Right, mate, I'm going to go.
So, mate, thank you very much.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
The Weld Like Bazza podcast is sponsored by MS Welding, the #1 welding solution provider. mswelding.co.uk